Ethan Klein from H3H3. He's kind of an OG. They've been doing this podcast for a while. Typically, he's like interviewing people, at least pretty frequently he interviews people, and there was some supposedly homophobic language on a recent episode of the podcast. I've heard a little bit about this on Twitter, so we're going to take a little look-see. I guess this is going to be a little graphic as well as homophobic, apparently.
He has some anal leaking. Now, we were saying, well, if he's getting blasted in the ass hard enough, potentially, you may need to wear a diaper. And a lot of you will say, like, okay, we've had a debate, like, I don't think vaginas increase in size from sex, but assholes actually do. If you have a lot of anal sex, you can actually blast open your anus. Frequent anal sex can result in a blasted open asshole.
I don't know if that's true.
Just got railed real hard the night before. He's a power bottom.
No,
that's an option. Power bottom.
So wouldn't that mean that the diapers aren't for him, though?
No, if he's on the bottom, he's getting railed. He's an enthusiastic receiver.
That is generally what top and bottom mean. You can get blasted in the ass pretty hard without needing a diaper, true. So far, you know, not really like medically accurate information from Ethan Klein, but not that we were really expecting medically accurate info from this guy.
Power bottom is a guy who likes to wildly ride the peg of another dude while he jacks you off until both have bone orgasms. Yeah.
Get down to the power bottom of things here on the H3 podcast. I love you guys so much, but
this is just Ethan word vomiting until he finds a sex joke that lands. This is pretty normal for him, and I doubt he was trying to be homophobic so far. Yeah, I'm not really picking up that it's homophobic yet. Is it homophobic to imply that assholes get looser? Like, I mean, the implication would be that, like, this was also true for women.
Okay, we have a call about the top-bottom stereotype. Hey, Matt.
Oh,
so, Matt,
wow.
what have I got wrong?
Sir. I know often you feel inclined to describe someone where you think they might be a bottom. And I think that that's often a misconception, that, like, bottoms may be passive or the
well, I just mean that he likes
partner.
I just mean that he likes to take it up the butt.
But how can you know that about someone?
Well, that was just a theory about because he wears diapers. It's just a theory.
Oh no, there have been times I think
that makes sense. Okay, I kind of wonder if he caught someone with a fetish and believed an excuse for it, because he just said that, like, the guy was wearing a diaper, so he assumes that he was wearing a diaper because he's a bottom and, like, needed it because of some problem with being loose. But when it actually might have been just like a diaper kink.
One that comes to mind was maybe Jordan Peterson, that you described as probably being someone that would be a bottom. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But, like, I've heard you at times maybe say, like, oh, this is someone that might be a bottom. You can't always tell, like, who's the top, who's the bottom.
So do you find it offensive if I say, by being like, oh, he's probably a bottom? Is that the problem?
Absolutely.
It's offensive.
Because the gay men already, you have to deal with certain assumptions about femininity and masculinity.
I mean, it is funny though. I don't know. I think the problem is that the term power bottom is very funny to me. Sometimes, you know, these
yeah, he's just like, I think that the term power bottom is very funny. Like, he's just very entertained by what he's perceiving as kind of like the dirty joke of it all, you know?
I think maybe the joke is the dichotomy of, like, their persona of ultra masculinity, but then, like, the joke being that they're a power bottom.
I think the ascription of...
So what he was unable to articulate there is the joke that he is attempting to play off of is that, like, their bravado would be in conflict with the idea of being a, like, receptive partner for gay sex, because that is feminine and like contrary to the posture of their power. Yeah, masculinity and power don't relate in that sense. It's based on stereotypes. There is, like, this sort of implied misogyny that applies to bottoms that doesn't apply to tops. You know, that bottoms are, you know, feminine, passive, receptive, that taking it in the ass is, like, contrary to what it means to be powerful and masculine.
So would you consider yourself a top or a bottom, or you don't do that, the labels?
And I mean this with all peace and love and with respect, Ethan. It's none of your business.
But you have a preference one way or the other?
But that's another dangerous assumption, too.
Can I guess?
A lot of gay men don't.
You tell me if it's right, if I guess right?
He's pushing too much. This is pushing too much, I feel. Like, at the very first time that the guy said, it's none of your business, that's too much. Yeah, definitely.
No.
You know what? I'm not gonna get into it, Matt. But we all know which one you prefer.
Is it homophobic if I guess what Ethan is implying by that? I mean, like, he's implying that the guy is a bottom. He's going with the joke, like the same joke, where he's like, you sound feminine and you're making a womanly argument. I'm calling you a bottom. Like, that is what just happened. I'm not casting in aspersions on that guy. I'm just saying he does sound feminine. Like, he has a gay affect to the way that he speaks. And the kind of argument that he's making makes him seem very sensitive. So then Ethan comes in and just jokes again that he is a bottom. You know, like, just continuing with this, like, honestly, like, it kind of is a little bit homophobic.
Is a bottom who is just the more active bottom.
Oh, okay, I see. So they'll ride it. They can ride. A power bottom will ride it, where a regular bottom will just kind of lay there. So the power bottom is.
Yes, now he comes to understand what a power bottom is.
One who rides enthusiastically. You don't need diapers or anything, right? But, like, if you are a regular receiver of anal sex, and I'm not saying you are, I don't know. But if you were, does the poop pass, like, any differently from before? Is it all normal functions? Like, yeah. I get it doesn't leak out, but I wonder if it just comes out a little different. If you're on the bottom, really, it doesn't mean you're like a beta. You could be alpha and also still be.
You could be alpha.
I think we need an alpha bottom. I think we need more distinctions.
We need an alpha bottom? We need more distinctions?
Apologies to whatever his name was. Apparently I was homophobic to him. But whatever. What can you do? People say it was gross and disappointing. Saying you can guess if Matt is a power bottom by his voice is so gross. But I was right. That was the point. Wasn't I? He admitted.
Yeah, of course you were right. And honestly, just so over these fucking people. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
I don't know who he is.
It's a fucking entertaining show. Shut the fuck up.
Someone says, I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said,
grow up. Jesus fucking Christ.
Dan.
I don't know what's up with Ethan today, but something's off. Bad vibes this episode.
Shut the fuck up. Unsubscribe. Go away. Jesus.
It sometimes feels like Ethan thinks LGBTQ plus people are exotic or something. It's super uncomfy.
I mean, true. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I think y'all need to fucking... Do you think it's hard for a straight person to understand how it feels to always have people define you by how you prefer sex? Is that a valid criticism?
Yeah, you're essentializing someone's personality down to their sexual behavior, which is why it's an issue, you know?
No, I'm so fucking frustrated with these people.
Get the fuck out!
So wait, what was I? Where did it even? Do you think some of y'all are way too fucking sensitive for the show? To be totally honest, like people in this thread who are saying they're grossed out and whatever. I think you're really. I think this with peace and love, you might be too sensitive to watch this show. If you're watching this show and you're perpetually offended by things I'm saying, you may want to just stop watching. Like, genuinely. Like, does get annoying with some of y'all getting offended all the time. Come on, you talking about power bottoms is like me asking Ela if she likes it in the front or back. Does she ride your cock, or like you pounding her? Respect, Matt. Not cool, dude.
Yeah. I do agree. I basically agree with this. It's invasive, and like the only reason that it seems okay to ask invasive questions is because you view gay people as like kind of exotic and other. You're separate and detached, you know, you're not really concerning yourself with their subjective experience, you know, you're not really considering whether it would be appropriate to ask, like, I mean, more so than what that tweet said, you know, this tweet saying like, it's like if I asked if Ela likes to ride you or if she prefers you to hit it from the back, like, more invasively, it would be like, do you like to get pegged, Ethan Klein? You know, and then saying, because you like to get pegged, here are some assumptions about your personality because of that, you know? Oh, you like your wife to peg you? Oh, she wears the pants, you know, she must be the one who makes all the money. She calls the shots. She makes the rules, huh? Like, there is so much that is going to be implied by that. And Ethan doesn't understand that he's playing into that because nobody has pointed that out to him. And we could all tell because of how you talk and move your hands. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's viewing queerness as inherently sexual. Yeah, that's part of it too. Like, yeah, like everything about you comes down to how you have sex as a queer person. If you want to see the response to the backlash/apology, 1038.
I was very insensitive to the caller. The whole pushing, the comment specifically where I was like, I could tell what you are based on your voice or whatever. Very, very gross and bad, okay? Like, I totally acknowledge that. And the whole bottom diaper thing, okay, I understand now. Like, what I said was offensive. But there are certain things I just got to be real about. I got to speak my mind on. No matter what, I'm going to always speak my mind. I'm going to be true to myself. And I'm not going to let anybody or anyone kind of change course for what I think is right. And so there are some things about this that really rub me the wrong way. Let's start off, first of all, with what Dan said. Dan told everyone to fuck off and unsubscribe. I understand that made some of you guys angry. But I have to defend, first of all, a lot of people have been calling Dan a horrible homophobe, and that's just fucked. That's just outrageous. Anyone watch the show knows that Dan's a good man. And I'm not going to...
I mean, he seems like an asshole at the very minimum.
Fucking stand by and let people malign Dan like that. That's just fucking insane. I got to stand up for my boy here. You know, so much so that poor Dan just made a Twitter. How long ago was it? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
You deleted Twitter, right?
I'm out.
You logged in today.
I mean, I was sort of harangued into making one anyway.
But you were enjoying it. You were tweeting.
I was enjoying it, but yeah. The thing is that I get very argumentative with people, and you know, and I do want to say I appreciate you saying that, Ethan. I do think that I did not articulate my thoughts very well the other day, and I apologize to everybody that, you know, I think a lot of people that I was not referring to thought I was referring to them.
Here's what I want to say, Dan, before you get too deep into that apology.
Okay.
I do want to give you the chance to speak, but I just want to be fair to Dan because I'm going to say things that I don't think he'll say for himself. Every week, we get fucking canceled and called out for something that we're not good enough for. We're not woke enough. Be better. It's always be better, do better. I feel like an abused fucking stepson sometimes, you know, trying to navigate this space. It's like, every week, be better. You got to do better. You got to be better. I'm doing my best here, guys. Like, y'all can't, I'm getting like woke whiplash. And it's like, last week, or with the Will Smith thing, or there was people like, well, sometimes the people take it too far, but this time it's right. This time it's serious. Or last time it's fucking serious. And it's like, you guys got to fucking like understand how intense it feels on this side when every week people are turning something we said into evidence that we are intolerant pieces of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's always like, oh, the veil is down. I always knew.
I can see that being quite frustrating. Yeah. This is exactly what I have been complaining about recently. I mean, I've been complaining about it for fucking years, but I've been vocally complaining about this recently. Like, I don't think it's very productive to get on people's case about every fucking little thing. But like, you know, is it even possible to do a gentle correction if there are hundreds of other people making the same correction but not nicely, you know, like, because there's just so much feedback for them as creators, you know, what can you do to reach them in a way that is not going to ultimately just feel like a fucking avalanche, you know? Yeah, you have to be able to admit that you're doing something wrong even if there's a large volume of it. Yeah. It's hard though. Like, it's literally like your impulse, your instinct is basically to like buckle down under that much disagreement, you know? Stop reading YouTube comments, true.
They were racist homophobes. Oh, we can't pretend now to be woke and all this shit. And Dan is fucking sick of that shit. And understandably, and we all are. So his snap judgment is like, you know, fuck you guys, just shut up. And, you know, people are calling me homophobic. Dan knows I'm not homophobic. Okay, he's standing up for me, which he's being a good friend and a good supporter. So, you know, so I totally understand Dan's reaction to say, you know, just shut the fuck up and unsubscribe, which, you know, obviously he was heated at the moment. But
Too heated.
Too heated, okay. But understandably, you know, it's not, sometimes it just doesn't feel reasonable with the woke whiplash we get. And I understand, because, like, I'm sorry, but me and Dan both know we're not homophobic, okay? And I refused that title. I do, outright, for both of us. It's just not the case.
This is one of those issues, like, I used to argue with Christians and tell them that their beliefs were wrong, and they took it as, like, a personal attack, you know? I want to be able to address that you said something homophobic without you then taking that as me essentializing you are a homophobe. Although it's unfortunate because I'm sure that some people did essentialize and say you are a homophobe and not like you said something homophobic and that you can learn from it, you know? People saying you can do better, I think, is not a problem. I don't know why you would be like affronted by that.
So there's two main things that people were really mad at me for. One was what you're talking about, which, again, I think I overreacted. I don't know. It was just a mood thing. And like you said, it really wasn't even about that particular thing. But I mean, anybody that frequents our subreddit or goes into the comment section of YouTube knows what you're talking about. And you know, it gets exhausting to just feel like you're.
Every week, people are saying you're not good enough.
People are
be better.
Yeah, so
be better.
Yeah,
it's like I'm trying.
Yeah, and I was trying to stand up for you a little bit. I am glad that you acknowledge, though, that, you know, especially the thing with the caller and pushing him when he had established a boundary. I didn't like that happened either, and I'm glad that you see that was too far. And
I'm glad that they
the other
acknowledged
criticism that I have been getting, which is really the reason that I was like, you know what, fuck this whole Twitter thing, is that I at one point during the show was mocking the caller's lisp. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That did not happen.
That did not happen. And if you're saying that happened, you are either...
That definitely didn't happen in any of the stuff that I was watching. Ethan not being willing to learn is part of the reason I stopped watching. He was also platforming a lot of alt-right figureheads at the time. I think that he has been open to it, and that's what is frustrating after a certain period of time, is like when you are open to at least like listening to the criticism, and like even if you ultimately don't change your mind most of the time, if you're like open to it, but then like people just consistently like use inflammatory language to try to bring you to heel about it. Like that's kind of how it feels, at least, is like they're trying to bring you to heel about the things that you're saying when you don't think that what you're saying is all that harmful. Yeah, I'm not sure who specifically he's platformed. He's had so many people on his podcast. Now, to be totally clear, if Ethan Klein ever asked me to be on his podcast, are you fucking kidding me? Of course. Of course. He's a chill, relaxed dude who has a massive platform. The thing is that in order to be a normal person, you have to be able to interact with people who like are not all the way woke. If I start interacting with humans again, like going to conventions and stuff, like sometimes you just have to like spend a while talking to a libertarian, you know, like it's okay.
There was a moment.
People said you were mocking.
Yeah, there was a moment late in the show when we were talking about somebody had left I believe it was after somebody left a super chat telling us that we suck or whatever. And, you know, I think I did a voice that was more so just like a annoying whiner voice, you know, was sort of like I was mocking. And somehow people connected that to me mocking the caller's lisp, which the caller happened like 2 hours prior to that. So it's really a leap to think that I was referencing that. And that was really upsetting to me because I would never fucking do that. And, you know, again, that does not feel like people are being genuine. I don't know how you can watch that and make that conclusion. If it came across that way to people and you genuinely thought that's what I was doing, I apologize. That was not my intent by any means.
Well, part of my problem, Dan, is that people are making a lot of bad faith arguments that are just total bullshit.
Right. Yeah. No, so that has the overreacting and telling people to fuck off, you know, I accept that was over the line. The other stuff, I don't even know.
One thing that I didn't appreciate that a lot of people were saying about me is like, the only reason you felt comfortable asking him if he's a top or bottom is because he's gay. That's fucking bullshit. I ask everybody uncomfortable questions,
and that was
always.
That was the point that I articulated very poorly, I admit, but that this is what you get with Ethan, man. Like he pushes boundaries and he pushes buttons, and it's not targeted.
Yeah, that's one of the top comments on that video too. Ethan is indiscriminate in who he pushes.
Oh, exactly. That's good.
If that's true, then I think that's fair enough. Like, if Ethan is the kind of guy who would ask a straight dude on his show if he likes to be pegged, then I would say fair enough. He started saying that they need to be edgy in order to have an audience. They can't have it both ways, though. They want the audience that comes from provoking people, but they don't want people to react. It's really interesting how you end up with all these, like, wokies. Oh, is that what we should call them now? Ooh, instead of calling them woke scolds, we'll call them wokies. That's a good idea. So when the wokie, like, how does he end up with so many wokies in his audience? Like, Ethan Klein, who I know has made jokes that were off color before. How does he end up with so many woke people in the audience?
You cannot draw the conclusion from one thing that like, oh, well, I'm just targeting this man because he's gay. That's fucking bullshit. Okay? Anyone who watched this show, as that comment well stated, it says that I'm indiscriminate with my inappropriate questions. Yes. That's how I fucking talk to people on this show. Yeah. I find it interesting to make people squirm a little bit.
Honestly, like I'm just increasingly, I'm like, yeah, no, I would enjoy talking to Ethan. Like, I would love it if Ethan asked me just like, because I'm autistic and I don't like interpret questions about like surgery plans and stuff as being like upsetting. I just interpret that as an opportunity to fucking info dump. So the second that Ethan Klein asks me if I have a dick, oh my God, it's going to be a deluge of information no one asked for. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Please someone put me on Ethan Klein's radar.
Make uncomfortable, ask the questions that you know you shouldn't, right? In real life, I'm not like that. But on the show, when I'm trying to fucking entertain you, this is an entertainment show, by the way, I like to create these situations. I think they're interesting. To purposefully and knowingly recruit a queer and gay fan base. So first of all, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what do you mean? I'm purposely and knowingly recruiting a queer, what am I what am I handing out flyers? Am I targeting ads to gay people? What the fuck are you talking about? That is just so insulting to me. Like, what the fuck?
When have I ever knowingly recruited queer or gay fans? I just find that statement so foul. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's foul. But then she continues, just to shit all over them and perpetuate horrific stereotypes about gay men is a choice. Now, you may not be, first of all, you may not like, a horrific stereotype about gay men, I think, is like that they're P-words or groomers, like shit you hear from real people right now today.
I agree with Ethan on this one.
In Florida, saying like, they're saying, oh, you can't talk about gay people in school because they're grooming your children. That's fucking horrific. Let's check our tone a little bit. What the fuck? Did I really perpetuate a horrific stereotype? I don't know. Like, if what I did was horrific, then what is it they're doing? Like, can we have some levels here?
Fully agree with Ethan on this one, actually. Like, totally agree.
Let's say, okay, what I did was horrific. Top, bottom stuff, whatever. A joke in poor taste. Genuinely, I would like to hear what Kat describes as, like, every mainstream conservative describing gay people as groomers. So what is that? We got it. We need some levels here. But okay, that's not even the problem. She says, perpetuate horrific stereotypes about gay men is a choice. So she's saying, I've gone out into the world. I have recruited queer and gay fan base. And then I put them in a room.
See, I just think that's wild. Like, I'm like confused as to how he has so many queer people in his fan base. Like, how did that happen? We are speculating over here about like Trisha Paytas having, he has a podcast with Hassan. He's an interesting specimen to the gay community, perhaps. That's why they listen to him. Maybe it's because Ethan's not actually malicious. So when you find like a kind, funny, silly, non-malicious white man, it can be like kind of nice, but then they're trying to hold him accountable in a way that is just like not gonna work, I don't think. Okay, I think that's like more or less the end of that segment. Yeah, broadly, I think that I think that there are issues with the original comments that Ethan made. I think there's something to be said about the idea that making assumptions about someone's personality based on how they have sex is kind of homophobic. Like, is it the end of the world homophobic? Is it horrific? I agree. Like, I don't think that that's a fair characterization of it. I don't think that it's fair to like really come down hard on him about it. Now, it's possible that, you know, it was just kind of a large volume of non-toxic comments that just by virtue of how many there were felt kind of overwhelming, in which case, like, I think it's Ethan's responsibility to maybe like have a social media manager so that he doesn't have to directly engage with some of that stuff, you know? Yeah, he definitely should have stopped with the invasive questions. They both acknowledged, as far as I can tell, that that was like hashtag not a good look. This is not it, chief. Ultimately, I don't think it was horrendous. And I ended up agreeing with some of the things that he was saying about the backlash being a little bit too much. Like it feeling like a tight rope to walk, you know? How can you be funny and edgy and also not offend people sometimes? Like, I can understand that feeling like, how can I even do this job in the way that I wanted to without pissing people off? Like, it's a question that I have to ask myself, you know? If I drop the R word, I have to be prepared for the fact that people will just dead ass unsubscribe immediately as soon as I say it without waiting to listen to an explanation or anything. So there is like, in order to be edgy as a comedian, you have to just be willing to tolerate the fact that people are going to constantly call you out. You're signing up for it. Just as much as you feel like people are signing up to hear that edgy humor when they watch your show, you are also signing up for them to criticize you for it.
Well, howdy there, my dear sweet viewers, and my patrons especially. Y'all are the real MVPs, and I'm gonna be shouting out some real ones especially today. I'd like to thank Mersh Rolvag, Tiago Nascimento, Jovian F. Gaudreau, Jake Fortier, Bean, Amanda B., Heather Clarkson, Sarah A., R. Halverson, Wellington Marcus, Michelle Winter, Athiet, Suzanne Maynard, Nova, Frozen Summers, Mr. Atheist, and Elizabeth Bartell.